Can you hear me?
Oh, there it is.
It's only you, Lily. We cannot hear you.
Hi. Can everyone hear me? You can? Okay, let me take my gum out. One sec. Okay. Hi, everyone. So Lily asked me last night if I would speak on today's call, so I was like, okay. I didn't really have much planned, but I think I'm just going to talk about how the picture said, like how to maintain drive, passion, and vision for the life of your dreams. I think for me, and I want to tell a little story first, but for me, I think I've just always been so passionate about living the life that you've imagined, that you dream of, because life is just way too short to not be doing what you want to be doing. So I want to do a little background and then start with a story. So I've not a lot of you might not know, but I've had a really horrible job. It's I worked for General Motors for Chevy in advertising, and this year was one of the biggest transitions in General Motors history, and it was a team of less than 20 of us handling that. So it was absolutely brutal. Coming right out of college into that, it was just ridiculous hours. I mean, people were working till 4 or 5 in the morning. I would be working till 3 in the morning, from 8 in the morning onward. You could barely eat dinner because you had to get back onto the computer when you got home. And it took everything out of me. And I've never had anxiety in my life. I've never, felt like that. And I felt like that, horrible, with really bad, depressed and anxiety and just no motivation whatsoever. I had forgotten how and why I loved working out. My fitness and my health were just not okay. And it was because of that job. So the story I want to tie in was one day I was in Chicago and I got on a train, and I have a YouTube video about this, but if anyone's seen, I think Lily has. But, and I sat next to this old man, and he asked me to help him send a text to his granddaughter that said, I love you more. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And I love old people. And so we started talking. I always end up talking to a lot of really old people. He was 70. And he started telling me about his life and sharing his life stories. And I was like, wow, you sound like you have a really cool life. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, what did you do? Or what was your job? And I used to hate when people ask me, what do you do? Because I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it. So he told me his story, and it resonated with me so much. And I really feel like God or the universe, whatever you believe in, put him in my path. So his story was, he was the youngest brother of 2 older brothers. One was a lawyer and one was an engineer, a lawyer and a CPA. So accounting. And he had a really big passion for hairdressing, but obviously that doesn't go with his family. So he ended up having to go to school for engineering, and he did not want to do that, but he felt like that's what he had to do. So he was just telling me that, he was doing the engineer thing and he still just really wanted to pursue the hair thing. And eventually he just said, screw this. I'm going to go all in with my hair, because even his mom would be embarrassed when when he started doing his hair instead of doing that. When people would ask, what do your sons do? She wouldn't want to tell him he's a hairdresser, but he knew that was his passion. And everyone, made fun of him for trying to follow that, because it's a guy doing hairdressing. It just wasn't fitting in with what society was saying that he should be doing. And so he was telling me that story, and then how he ended up owning a bunch of hair salons in Chicago, and ended up obviously making a lot of money from that. And then eventually he said his mom was every time someone asked, what do your sons do? she would be like, oh, my son owns this, a franchise of hair salons, and be like all excited and showing him off to everyone. And before, she was embarrassed because he was following his passion because it wasn't what was panned out to be. And so like, he didn't know it at the time, obviously, but like that just really resonated with me because I was doing something that society was telling me that I had to do. And that's not what I wanted to do whatsoever. And so his story really like catapulted me into like reevaluating what I was doing with my life. And, you know, there'd be days where I would just come home and run straight into bed and just be physically not being able to like move or do anything because it was just exhausting. So like his story just was so inspirational to me that like, one day you're gonna maybe be that old person on the train, you know, you're gonna be that 70-year-old that someone's gonna ask like, what is your life? What did you do? And you don't want to live a life of regret. You don't want to be that one that's like, oh, I went to engineer school even though my passion was hairdressing, or whatever your passion may be. And like that for me hit home so hard. Like I don't want to grow up and be 70 and look back on my life and be like, I was so passionate about fitness. I was so passionate about health, about helping people, or whatever your passion may be, like photography, you know, whatever. And know that I didn't give it my all and that I just let life just, you know, swim by and just go with the flow. So that is when I really just switched my mindset, and I'm like, I'm not letting any more time go by wasted because I will never get that time back. And so that's what got me into, you know, working out again and feeling better again and just putting myself and my goals first. Because honestly, and I wanted to talk about this just to you guys, because obviously we're all doing something that we're passionate about with Beachbody. Like we already know that we want more from our life. So that's why we're here. But just like to keep that vision, like maintain that vision, even when it gets hard, because what's worse is regret. You know, like it's harder to have regret than it is to try and do what you want to do. And so I was gonna, you know, just ask you to like think back on what you're passionate about, what you really want out of your life, and just never give up on that, because like I said, you have one life and you don't want to have a regret with it. And so I think all of us being here is amazing because it shows that we do want more and we do desire more and we're working towards better. But yeah, so I was like looking at the chat. So yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about that story because I mean, it's such a lame story. And I even posted it on my YouTube, and his granddaughter ended up seeing it. And then he commented on it and was like, oh, thank you for this, or something like that. And now me and the granddaughter are like really good friends. Like we talk all the time. And it's just crazy that like he came into that, in that seat on a train in Chicago at like 7 a.m. when I was at my lowest, and told me that story. And then now here we are, and I'm in such a better place now where like, I just know that I have control of what I want my life to be. And I think we all have control over that. And even if, you have a family, you have kids and all that, like you were here, you were born first alone. Like always follow what your passion is and what you want to be doing, because you came in alone and you're going out alone. So you got to live your life for you. So I talk really fast, so things go by pretty fast, but I wanted to leave you with like a couple questions. So the first one is like, what does your heart want? Like you like to write them down, think about them, like really analyze it. Like, what does your heart want? Like, what do you actually want from your life, from your relationships, from your health, from financial standpoint? Like just ask yourself, like, what does your heart want in this world? Because for me, it was to pursue my passion for fitness and health and nutrition. And I was not doing it at that time. I almost even said one time, I guess I'm just going to end up in advertising forever. And all those passions I had are just, going to be in the back and never going to happen. Like I was at that point where I was like, I'll give up. Like I'll just succumb to society and work really hard in advertising and keep working towards that. So I don't want anyone to have that mentality, because it's not good. So what does your heart really want? And then think about, what are your strengths? Because we all are born with something. Like we all have something different to give, and you need to figure out what that is for you and really hone in on that. Warren Buffett, actually, if you don't know who he is, he's like one of the biggest investors. I think he was like the richest man in the world. I don't really know. But he says, I am smart in spots and I stick around those spots. So like really, like, you know, like me and Lily, like we're not the most organized people in the world. Like we're just free flowing and like, that's fine. That's who I am. And I'm not going to try and be like a planner, like scheduler if it's just not me, you know, like, so hone in on what you're good at and really just take it by storm, because like I said, we all have something that we can provide value with. Even if you might think you don't, I promise you it's something within you is meant to be doing something great. So follow that. And then the last one is put your goals on paper. So create a vision board. I have this massive vision board in my bathroom. It's changed a lot in 1 year, but you know, before it was like makeup and stuff, and now it's fitness and stuff. But I have a huge one in my bathroom. So every time I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm looking at what I want from my life, from my days, from, you know, everything like that. And I look at it and I put it on paper so that I know exactly what I'm working towards every day. And if I'm feeling down or if I'm feeling unmotivated, you know, I see it there like, Jessica, you have something bigger than this moment you're feeling right now of unmotivation. Like you want something more than that, because when you see it, you believe it, and then you achieve it. So that's like the last thing I want to say is put it on paper and really like think about your goals constantly. Think about what you want, and just don't stay average. Don't just follow what everyone's doing. If you know deep inside that you want to be doing more, then you go all in, because you don't want to be like that 70-year-old on the train that has that regret of not trying hard enough, or, you know, letting society or someone else's opinion ruin like what's in your soul. So I hope that was helpful. Just a little cute story and a little motivation for you guys to take. And hopefully that helps in your business to just remember that even when things get tough in this, or, you know, you're not getting people or not like that. I mean, it's harder in a real traditional business. Like my dad started a trucking business, and like, I'm sure he's not making as good of a profit right now, almost a year in, with investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in his business. And, you know, and it's hard every day. I see my sisters and him working all day and night. And, you know, I'm grateful that this is at least something that can help me with my health and fitness, and then I'm helping others. So, you know, just take that into this and just keep that vision and that passion when things get tough. And even if, you know, you don't come out on top, whatever that means, like you came out on top for yourself, you're getting fit, you're getting healthy, and you're helping others. So I hope that helps a little bit in that aspect too. I don't know if Lily can talk yet, but that's pretty much all I have, I think. Oh yeah, and then the last thing is, I don't know if you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, but I am obsessed with him. And one day he said, if you died today, would you be happy the way you've been living your life? Like if this was like your last, what day is it? Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? If this was your last Wednesday, like, would you be happy with how you lived it today? And a lot of the times my answer was no. Like, honestly, it was no. I go home, I wake up already mad. I go to bed with anxiety and pissed off already. And I was not happy with it. And I knew I needed to make that shift, because you only get one life. And this whole world of like, just go to your 9 to 5, be miserable, be stressed. I mean, they had to bring in therapists to my like job. Like it was bad. We all had to go talk to HR. Like, it was just bad. So, you know, just make sure that every day you're living a life that you're proud of. That's all I got. And if anyone has anything to add, go ahead. It's okay, Lily. Yeah, Alexandra, I freaking love him. I was listening to him like every day for months. Thank you guys. If no one has anyone else to add, then like that's totally fine. Lily, I don't know if you can talk, but yeah, I have nothing else. So keep killing it, everyone. What?